All right. So I am Ryan, and this is Nick, and we are going to be watching Netflix original movies and talking about them because somebody needs to be. I think anyway. So this week's we watched In the Shadow of the Moon. I want to look at like who the directors were and stuff, and see if there's like reasons that it might be redeemable or why we should have known it was bad at the beginning. But at first, I want to know, like, what are your takes? How did you feel about this movie? I know how I felt about it.
Okay, well, I feel like from the get-go, I need to set up like some sort of scoring system.
Oh, okay, right
so
on.
that like each one has some sort of value.
Like this one's four melons and a spike.
But here's what I'll say is, yeah. I feel like every movie for me that we watch, unless we pick some real god-awful ones, is going to be in like the 6+ range. Like on a scale from 10, like 1 to 10, it would be like a 6+.
Yeah,
I generally,
they're not B movies. They're not movies that are unwatchable.
Well, I mean, it's just like even ones that are like god-awfully bad. Like what was the one, Turbo Kid? You know, the one that's like shot in like a...
Oh, yeah.
like a dumpster somewhere.
Yeah, like Mad Max
so
with
bad
BMX
that
bikes.
it's so bad that it's good, you know? So like,
yes,
it's kind of rare for me to see a movie and be like, I would never have watched that, you know? But, and I'd say if I was going off of 1 to 10 scale, anything below a 5 would be, I would not recommend it to someone.
Okay, right.
You know, like, and then like I'd say a 6, I'd be like, if you're bored, watch it.
Right on. Okay.
A 7 was like, yeah, I enjoyed it. I probably won't watch it again.
Yeah.
You know, 8's a really good movie for me. 9's my favorite movies. So that's kind of how I'm going to go off of this scale.
And what makes a 10? Like Smurfs 2? Is that that's the?
I mean, obviously, that's the bar that we're going off of for sure. But I'd say it's really hard to ever call a movie a 10 unless I just think it's like Dumb and Dumber. That's a 10.
Yeah. Movie you can watch eternally. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a 10. I'd say this is like a 7.1. You know, like it was a good movie. I didn't think it was great. I didn't like the ending. Like I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the pacing of the movie. And I didn't really like the character development that much.
Yeah.
So those are the things I thought were wrong with it. But so you know, I mean, this was the movie that I picked. Yeah. And when I go find a movie on Netflix, I generally go for a sci-fi movie. Like I go for like some sort of sci-fi movie that I get sucked into thinking about like time travel or something dumb like that. This was like right up my wheelhouse. Like if I was going to just sit down and watch a random Netflix movie, this would have been one that I would have picked. Nice. So it wasn't just out of the blue, you know? Yeah, I think so do we want to just spoil the movie?
Oh no, absolutely. I think we have to because I want to really talk about like I had similar feelings. So
I just mean like in terms of where we're at right now talking about it. Do we want to just go ahead and talk about the ending, or do you want to?
I'll chime in. I'll chime in with my thoughts. I would say I was okay with even the pacing of it. Like I enjoyed the movie, but there was a point where everything fell apart for me. You know what I mean? Like the movie was going, and I was okay with the guy like obviously chasing these things, but then all of a sudden like there was just a logical leap, and I was like, oh, that's way bigger than anything you've set up with anything that's going on. So I mean, that's kind of, I think that's what knocked it down from being like an 8 to me to being like on your level, being like a 6. You know, I'd tell somebody, hey, watch it. You know, it's fun. It's you know, I don't know that I'll think about it again in a year, but you know, it wasn't bad. The movie made sense, but I just it wasn't. It had flaws. It had flaws.
You're gonna have an example one of these days. Someone's gonna come up to you and be like, "Hey, have you ever heard of something that like melts people's brains?" You're like,
Yeah,
"I watched this movie once."
movie. All right, so okay, so you've got it at 7.1. I've got it at 6. I
Well,
think
and
from this point,
I'd say the reason why I have it higher than you is probably just because I like sci-fi films.
oh yeah, I
Like
mean yeah.
it's my style. So yeah, I was like predetermined that I was probably gonna like it.
Well, it's okay because the movie I want to watch is I Am Mother. Have you seen that one?
Ooh, no,
Oh, okay.
it's got a deep title though.
It's got robots and that girl from that they argue about on The Office, whether she's pretty or not.
Oh, I have seen this one. Yeah,
Okay, well
yeah,
maybe we
cool.
can jump on a different one. But
That'll be fun.
but I'm down with the sci-fi because I feel like you give it a little bit of wiggle room anyway because it's dealing with things that are bigger and larger than life. Plus, I'm not going to rate Netflix's romantic comedies.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
mean,
not from the start.
I feel like with sci-fi, it's easy to construct an interesting premise. It's just kind of hard to execute, right? Like it has the biggest swing because like you can either go way too hard on whatever concept you came up with, or like the visual effects are awful, or those kinds of things affect sci-fi movies more. Whereas like a romantic comedy, it's just like, was it funny? Was it a little funny?
Yeah. Did it offend you too much? That's where you're going. All right, so I think from this point on we need to talk spoilers because I really want to get to why it fell apart for me.
I think I know exactly why it fell apart for you.
All right, so I'm just gonna say, uh, obviously it was a time travel movie, which I think time travel is fun, but I think time travel is hard. And part of the logical leaps that they were asking you to take with them was that she was going back, and then when he was confronting her, he couldn't stop anything she was doing because they were going to happen. Right?
Sure.
Okay. Uh, but the entire premise of her going backwards was to stop something that had happened. So bear with me. If she is successful and it erases a timeline where she goes back, something happened then. Like there's no reason for her to stop something if it's never going to happen because she went back and stopped it. Like there's that weird paradoxical where it's like, okay, if you're going to argue that here,
Yeah.
you get, I mean, and that's what makes time travel hard, I think.
Well, and so if like let's say nobody watched the movie but is watching
Okay,
this.
yeah.
So like the basic premise of the movie is you start out following a cop who finds someone who's committing murders and like crazily, and there's like no connection that they can see between the murders, and this person dies, like gets thrown in front of a train.
Yeah.
And then you find out that like 9 years later, this person has come back and is killing people in the same way.
Yeah.
And in that instance, you're kind of told that she is time traveling, like in that part of the movie, that segment of the movie, that she's coming back into time, and this is her like third to last jump or something like that.
Absolutely.
And then this cop, who's been a cop for the last 9 years, realizes that that's what she's doing and becomes kind of insane, like obsessed with the theory that
he starts watching Bill and Ted
jumping
and
back in
Back to the
time.
Future and comparing notes, and he's like, "There's got to be an answer in these papers."
Yeah,
somewhere.
he goes from like a fully functioning like adult with a kid to like, which I mean, I guess if you fully knew that someone was time traveling, it's probably reasonable to say that you'd go nuts.
Sure. Yeah.
Like just in the
Especially if you're the
pursuit of
only
that.
one that knew. Yeah.
But he unravels in a really harsh way, and then he continues to follow her, and then in the next 9 years, that's her time travel loop, is every 9 years or something like that. So in the next 9 years, she comes back, and he's insane, and And
then she comes back again.
Yeah, and then she comes back again, and she's his granddaughter. That's the
Yeah.
that's the whole like big surprise at the end. Like, I'm your granddaughter, and you're actually going to teach me to do this and love me, and like all this random stuff. This person who he's been fighting and has killed, and he shot.
Which is the other big jump for me, right? Okay, so this guy, he knows going into the future, this guy has developed this technology. He doesn't pick any other person in the world. He doesn't like go say, hey, you need to recruit this army guy. Like, he's like, you know what? The perfect thing for this would be my granddaughter, whose life is completely expendable because I'm going to die before she does.
Okay, that's the whole reason I didn't like the movie. I was like, it's your granddaughter, and it's not like they told us that she is his granddaughter like in the middle of the movie. So you had time to kind of like craft a story around the two of them being like involved with each other. It was just like at the end of the movie they're just like, oh, by the way, I'm your granddaughter.
Well, and they didn't try to even like justify like, hey, I had this special genetic thing, which is why I'm the one that can be sent. Like, there was no reason for her to be his granddaughter. Like, there was no reason.
Yeah, it could have been anyone, and the movie would have been similar, like and better, in my opinion.
Well, and she still would have had a rapport with this person the longer it went on, because she would have interacted with him over and over again, and she still could have made all the same arguments.
And it's like, I mean, I guess I get like the problem that I have is like, why would your granddaughter be going back in time and have to fight you to solve the issues? You know, like, why are you the person who's stopping her from making a better future? That's what I don't get. Like, out of all the cops that are becoming a detective and like tracking down these murders, why is it your grandfather?
Yeah, like, it's not like you don't know where this dude is. Like, it happened in the past. You know exactly where he's going to be. Yeah,
he's your grandfather.
Unnecessary. Yeah, they tried to pull an M. Night Shyamalan on us, and I think that's really what pulled me out of the movie. I was just like instantly like, what? That's not why.
And what I meant about the pacing of the movie is like they really had me sucked in, like the first 45 minutes maybe. Like when like. By the second time she had shown up in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first time is like the last time she goes back in time. It's in 1988 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the next time she comes back is in 1997.
Yeah.
And so that's the progress of the movie. Right there, I was so sucked in. I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, in the first time she shows up in 1988, when she dies, they say that she was shot. Right, and they're like,
his service revolver bullet matched.
No one reported any shots. No one had any missing bullets or anything. So like, why is she shot? And that's when I turned to Taylor and I was like, oh, it's time travel. Like, he's going to shoot her in the future, and she comes back, and that's why she has a bullet in her. Like, I was ready for, like, I knew, all right, this is a sci-fi movie, time travel. Okay, cool.
Time travel, yeah. Well, it certainly wasn't Danny Glover's token character that sat around and just said things about tired of being a cop.
Okay, wait, so his partner, Maddox, was that his name? Yep. Okay, he's in another Netflix movie that just came out with Mark Wahlberg. And he plays the exact same character, like so much so that it was distracting me in the movie. Like,
that's awesome.
He's an African American cop who constantly has something in his mouth. That's the same in both movies.
Yeah. Did he complain about not wanting to do a job? Just sit in the car. Exactly. You don't need to do anything.
He just writes everything off. So like whenever something happens, like whenever there's a crime committed, he's just like, kids will be kids, or this is a crazy city, man. You never know. It's like he never wants to investigate anything. He never wants to be a cop.
I'm 3 days to retirement.
I was like, man, did Netflix just sign you to a contract to do this like 8 times?
Okay, so I'm really excited about this whole idea of doing this because I feel like there's more than that too. Like the lady that is in What Happened to Monday is in Bright, and is in like multiple others. Like how did that happen? Like, are you related to someone at Netflix? Like, I don't know. I'm excited.
Well, I know Adam Sandler did a deal with them. So like he instead of like releasing his movies to the theaters, he just signed like a 4-movie deal with Netflix. That's why he has like all those movies on there.
27,000 movies on Netflix
that are all just rom-coms of him in exotic locations.
Nice. All right, so I mean that's kind of how, I don't know, man. That's kind of how I felt about the movie as well. Like, you know, I was really engaged. I thought it was fun, and man, that jump just really was it. Which is why I wanted to talk. Like, I thought this would be a good idea to do the Netflix movies, because I've watched a few of them. I'd actually watched this one before, but it was like 6 months ago. So I was like, you know what? We'll rewatch it. But I feel like all of them have, that I've experienced, and at least maybe the sci-fi genre, because that's what I stick to mostly. But they have that point where it's like everything is good, and then they just didn't take an extra week in the writer's room to go, okay, let's hammer this out. Either that, or somebody was really like defending this, like, oh, this is going to be the greatest. He's going to blow people's socks off. It's his granddaughter, and they're like, he kills his granddaughter? Like, why would he do that? So yeah, so I you know, I don't know. It also makes me think about, especially with like superhero movies and stuff like that. You hear a lot of people like complaining about not seeing the director's cut, and I feel like Netflix is a lot less heavy-handed in their editorial department. So I kind of feel like you're getting what they expect you to see. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, are we really getting cheated out of the best movies ever? Or is it possible these guys just do some stupid things? Like, guys, that makes no sense. Let me step in here and stop this from happening. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, like, I think I got sidetracked there, but what I meant by like not liking the pacing was like right after the 1997 moment in the movie. That's when I just kind of lost as much interest. Like when the guy started to derail into this like fumbling idiot kind of like, I'm just obsessed with, I'm going to become a bad dad, and I'm just like, going to be obsessed with finding this chick. I was just like, no, why? Like, why couldn't he just continue to be a detective? Like, like, I don't know. I just kind of, that threw me through a loop. I was just, I'm not interested anymore.
What about the random appearances of Dexter? Like, I almost feel like he was just there to say the word serial killer, and kind of like Jim look at the camera. No one wants to say the S word. Yeah, we know Dexter. Nobody wants to say that.
I kind of liked how he was just like a buttoned up like dad.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah.
I do like the fake out that he got him on, where he's like, I'm going to change my ways. Give me a hug. And you're like, look at his wallet. What is going on, man? Oh, good times.
Yeah, that was definitely special. I'll remember that movie. Appreciated it.
But really, also, I would say I would say that one is 90% there. I would say there's 10% of adjustments that could be made, and I would be like, oh, this is a great, low coming in under the radar movie. You know what I mean?
And like it's shot well. It's got good actors in it. Like it's not the sci-fi movies from the old Sci-Fi Channel, where they would just throw together like a $10,000 budget movie.
I guess someone will watch it.
I liked it. I think. What'd you think of the Indian guy who was like who like came into the picture in the 1988 portion, talking about like kind of explaining, like, I think this is what's happening, which is exactly what was happening.
I think I know exactly what the writer is saying.
And then he like manifested his own destiny, where he was like, you guys have figured something out about time travel, so I'm going to invent it now. He was like, this one detective thinks that time travel is real, so now I'm going to invent time travel.
I also thought he was way too excited to be killing people. You know what I mean? Like he's like, oh, and we can just take people. And you know what? It's not even a clean process. I haven't even done the math to say I take out these 3 people and it happens. I'm just gonna start killing people until I get the right one. And I was like,
from what the movie showed us, he knew 3 things. He knew someone was coming back into time. They were melting people's brain with a random undetectable drug, and the detective knew that. That's all he knew. And from there, he developed the drug that melted people's brain, time travel, and tried to kill the cop. Like,
yeah. Not only that, but
his character development.
Well, he even gave us a monologue about how he should kill their families. Like, I'm going to kill grandmothers and sisters and aunts. And it's like, what is going on? Like, are we supposed to cheer for this guy? So strange.
He was just really interested in what was happening to, I'm going to cause this to happen.
All right, so let's see here. I'm on the IMDb. The director, it looks like most of his credits, his name is Jim Mickle. Most of his credits look like writing credits, which is interesting considering how this turned out. I don't know that I've seen any of his stuff. He's known for Cold in July, We Are What We Are, Stakeland. Stakeland sounds familiar, but I don't think I saw it. It looks like post-apocalyptic zombies, or yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, so I don't know if maybe we should have. I don't know that there's anything we should have necessarily expected from him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's not like every now and then you see. I'm really curious to get into ones that maybe have directors that are known, and you're like, oh, this is the way you went. That's strange. I'm gonna jump down to one of the writers here. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, actually, oh no, Limitless, the TV show. So not Limitless, the
movie. A director trail that I went on was I watched the Parasite movie.
Okay, yeah,
by
absolutely.
That Korean director, and then found out that he did Snowpiercer, which is a dystopian future sci-fi movie it's on Netflix, which was awesome. 8.5.
Nice.
Solid. So yeah, sometimes you can find gems like that. Like you'll watch In the Shadow of the Moon and find out he made Jaws.
Okay, so he has a Netflix original movie, and if you haven't seen that, we can watch that next. It's called Okja. OKJA. Awesome. And like most of his movies, it has Tilda Swinton in it. Because who doesn't like staring at Tilda Swinton? She's creepy in some sort of weird way, which I like her. She's straight creepy.
The Korean director. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the guy from In the Shadow of the Moon.
No. No, the Korean director, and I'm going to butcher Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a movie, the first movie of his I saw, which I hadn't realized any of those other new movies until you sent me down that rabbit hole. But the first movie of his I saw was called The Host. And if you haven't seen that, that's a quality monster movie. A lot of fun. The battle scene with the monster at the end is kind of lacking in the effects, but the writing is all there, and the grittiness of the story, but plus the heart of the story. It's strangely heartfelt, also weird.
See, that's the hard part about sci-fi movies is if they didn't have the budget and the special effects kind of let them down, it's man, everything about this movie was good. It's if they had just had extra whatever amount of money to make that one scene, it would have been perfect.
I don't know if you ever saw the old Blade, the first Blade.
Yeah.
So
I think I own all 3 of them.
Oh man, the first Blade is I will still stand by and go, that is a watchable movie. I enjoy it. I can't argue that it's a great movie, but it's fun. But all the effects are practical until the last fight when he cuts him in half and his his blood pulls him back together, and it's like it becomes this terrible textured CGI that just floats around the room. Oh man, it's so weird, so weird. I didn't see the last one. The one you have the third one, the one with Ryan Reynolds and
Blade Trinity.
Trinity, yeah.
Yeah, Jessica, one of the Jessicas. Jessica Biel.
There you go.
and Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
Yeah, they were supposed to kill Blade off in that movie and start the Darkstalkers show, which was going to be them. And Wesley Snipes was like, Blade don't die. And I was like, yes. Thank you, Wesley Snipes. Of course, then the IRS ended up chasing him out of the country. But other than that, I thought it was pretty
And then Blade just had a large tax bill.
yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it was. Like, you mean I have to pay taxes? That doesn't make sense.
We better make a Blade 4, guys. Yeah, that's awesome. It would be great to see some like really low budget Netflix superhero movies too. Like,
oh yeah. Well, I know they have some of the like X-Men adjacent stuff. Like, I feel like there's a lot of things like something weird happens in the world and all these people get powers and 4 of them are good, but one of them's real evil. Like, I feel like that they definitely have a movie in that genre. Because that's definitely a thing, right? I mean, the old Heroes show did it. Sure. The X-Men, that's their thing. The Flash did it. I mean, it's a thing.
Like, we're unsure about one of these guys, but the rest of them, they're real cool. It's basically Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is basically Teenage
Raphael's kind of an asshole. Everyone else is super cool. Yeah, it's like when you realize that most modern day TV shows are based off of Friends. Like, there's 3 guys, there's 3 girls.
Okay, so I was listening to Mac from It's Always Sunny Talk do an interview for some new show he's got coming out, or is out or something. But he was saying Always Sunny is based on Friends. But I'm not based as a copy, but based on like, I want to do the opposite. Like, the Friends, they were people that had enviable lives, that were nice, that were just this group of crazy misfits or whatever. He's like, what if these people were only friends with each other because they couldn't possibly be friends with anyone else? They were so awful. He's like, and that's how like Always Sunny was born. And like, that's amazing.
That's a great description of It's Always Sunny.
Hey, you know what? I said that our next movie would be Oakjaw. I'm actually gonna make our next movie The Platform because they just released it, and I really want to watch this bottle movie.
Is that?
That's one where they're stuck, and there's a hole in the ceiling that goes all the way down, and the food just falls through it, and they're fighting the people on the other levels.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but I know they're advertising it hard. How are? Is their top 10 their USA Today top 10 just among Netflix movies? Like, are they like, hey, USA Today, can you just do a top 10 just for us? Like,
yeah,
because that's what it seems like.
Oh yeah, well, because they're all originals, and they all seem to be things that they're trying to push, which to me is always super suspect. Super suspect.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds good. I saw the preview for that one, or I saw it like scrolling through. Now it's subtitled, isn't it? It's like
The Platform,
not
is
English.
it?
I think so.
Oh, I don't know. That makes it even better. Oh man, that's weird.
Now here's the real question: do we start watching series as well? Because there's one Netflix original series called Kingdom, where it's like like ancient Chinese society or something like that that's being attacked by zombies. That looks right up our alley.
Well, I think we might get there. The reason that I like the idea of movies is, for one, we can watch them in 1 week and be like, hey, what did you think? You got an hour and a half. But the second thing is, I think their series have a fairly high production quality and have been like
more vetted
than most TV shows that did you and Taylor watch The Haunting of Hill House?
Oh man,
that one.
No, we didn't.
most of the Marvel ones I was okay with, except for like Iron Fist. It was really hard to watch. But like a lot of the Netflix shows, I feel like are pretty solid for TV shows. I mean, there's always going to be some flops, but their movies, like they're just all over the place. I mean, they have that movie with Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner where they're hunting down Bonnie and Clyde. But then they have like the movie we just watched where Dexter's in the background for a little bit. You're like, what? So
they are kind of up and down, aren't they?
Yeah.
I really liked the one with Woody Harrelson and Tommy Lee Jones. No, Kevin Costner.
Yeah, Kevin Costner. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty solid. The thing that I like about their movies is finding one that I've never seen, and like when you go on a trip, you're able to download it to like your iPad or something.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think it's great, and it's like a little adventure. Like, especially really since Netflix has come along, I haven't with their streaming anyway. I haven't really had cable television. So I don't have that build up when movies are coming unless there's a movie I'm already seeing in the theaters. Like I really don't see the previews and get hyped, but Netflix has the previews built into it. So it's like, oh, like, if it's a good enough preview, I'm going to jump in that thing. And they're usually like my expectations are all over the place. like I don't know that I think that they're going to be great, but I definitely want to watch them and find out. So I don't know.
See, I feel like I have a hard time finding one that I want to watch sometimes.
Okay.
It's like if Netflix is pushing the movie and it's something I'm interested in, then it's right in front of my face.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I feel like I have to go digging for something that I want to watch in Netflix, and it's sometimes you'll find a good one, and sometimes it's just like, I don't know why I started this. 25 minutes in, I can't do this anymore.
Oh, no, they do have one that I was curious about too called Cargo that I found somewhere else, but it's got the guy that was Jim in the British Office and is in all the Avengers movies now, and Sherlock Holmes, he was Watson in Sherlock, the show.
Apparently, I've watched 58 minutes of that movie.
Oh, and so you didn't enjoy that one. I take it. I'm taking it you must have jumped off that train.
I suppose.
Now, there's going to be some stinkers. I want to talk about stinkers too when we get to some stinkers. Like, like maybe when we watch Taylor Swift's Miss America. No, we're not. I'm not going to put you through that. But
I'd do it in a heartbeat, man. Big Swiftie.
Big Swiftie. That's what they called you in high school, right? Big Swiftie?
Yeah, that was my nickname. It's ironic that that's what Taylor Swift's fan group is now.
I like it. Well, cool, man. Well, hey, I think that was a pretty successful first rant about a movie. I guess we should probably figure out how to release this thing. Otherwise, it's going to be a weird taped conversation between the two of us.
Just keep it on your own hard drive at home.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to post it in a random channel at work.
When you get audited one day, he has this weird collection of him just talking to this guy.
I love it.